Hi everyone, my name is Rakia Segev. I'm a product manager at Microsoft, and today I'm going to be talking about protecting users and stopping attacks, looking at passkeys on Windows, as well as other security capabilities to help protect users in high assurance scenarios. Today I'll discuss two overarching categories for protecting users and stopping attacks on Windows. The first is passwordless on Windows, and the second is high assurance authorization. Within passwordless on Windows, we'll look at a passwordless overview and Windows Hello. Next, I'll discuss new passwordless support, including improvements in the Securitykey experience and plugin credential manager support. Then we will delve into high assurance authorization and the new VBS Enclave SDK. First, let's delve into passwordless on Windows. Before I talk about how Windows enables passwordless, it's important to level set on why this matters so much right now. Identity is still the primary attack surface. Even as defenses improve elsewhere, attackers continue to focus on credentials because they're reusable, phishable, and tied to predictable human behavior. What's changed recently is the scale and sophistication of these attacks. We're seeing AI-driven phishing, deepfake impersonation, and attacker-in-the-middle techniques that can bypass traditional MFA. Passwords, even when combined with MFA, are increasingly vulnerable to replay, spray, and token theft attacks. The key takeaway on this slide is that the vast majority of identity attacks still start with passwords. As long as passwords exist as a standalone secret, attackers have something to steal, replay, or trick users into giving up. So when we talk about stopping attacks at the root, the most effective thing we can do is remove passwords entirely from the authentication flow. This means going passwordless. This brings us to the passwordless promise. Passwordless isn't just about stronger security. It's about better security and better user experience at the same time. First, passwordless removes the attack vector of standalone passwords altogether. There's nothing to phish, nothing to reuse, and nothing an attacker can replay later, as I've mentioned. Second, passwordless delivers a better user experience than passwords plus MFA. Instead of typing secrets and responding to prompts, users can authenticate with biometrics or their security keys. These are fast, familiar, and intuitive. And finally, passwordless authentication is built on strong device-based methods. Go passwordless with Windows Hello or Windows Hello for Business. Windows Hello for Business offers a phishing-resistant credential that enhances security on Windows devices. Its seamless device unlock and authentication experience is a game-changer, especially when combined with Intune mobile device management. This slide highlights the customizable features of Windows Hello for Business, which allow organizations to tailor security settings to their needs while ensuring a smooth user experience. It is our Windows device-bound authenticator that gives you SSO with Windows apps and across the web. It is a strong two-factor authentication, can be deployed in cloud, hybrid, or on-premise environments. Plus, you can unlock with your chosen method, whether that is face, fingerprint, or PIN, and your biometrics never leave the device. Now I will shift to talking about new experiences we've lit up on Windows. As part of the new credential user interface, we've made enhancements for easier passkey sign-in with security keys by supporting user agent hints. Relying parties can send these hints indicating their preferred authenticator modality. Windows consumes this hint and will apply deterministic ordering inside the credential UI, such that there are less steps for users using security keys. You go directly to the sign-in with your security key experience. The key credential hint can also be used for client device authentication and hybrid authentication. Next, I'll talk about plugin credential managers. The ship plugin credential manager support lets packaged credential managers integrate directly into Windows. Users can save, manage, and use passkeys across browsers and native apps, thanks to this plugin capability. Setting up your credential manager is part of the passkey creation flow. Authentication uses Windows Hello, whether that is face, fingerprint, or PIN, so only you can access your credentials. Providers implement a credential manager extension, where the WebAuthn plugin APIs support management operations for passkeys in native applications and browsers, and Windows surfaces passkey operations in native CredUI. The supported APIs fall into 4 categories: plugin management, autofill cache management, plugin state management, this is in the settings UX, and WebAuthn operations. Looking at the supported operations, you can add a plugin authenticator. Managing credential metadata is done through the plugin authenticator add credentials and plugin authenticator remove credentials APIs. You can perform user verification using Windows Hello with plugin perform user verification. Then updating plugin authenticator details as well as removing a plugin authenticator is supported as well. Integrating with the plugin credential manager support lets your passkey manager be integrated into the Windows experience, and it is safer than cache UV and quicker than a master password UV for unlocking access to credentials. Let's walk through an example of an integration with the plugin credential manager support. This is the Microsoft Password Manager plugin on Windows. I'm using the npm plugin to log into the LinkedIn app on Windows with my passkey. I authenticate using my face with Windows Hello, and that's it. I'm easily logged into my LinkedIn app. Next, let's look at high assurance authorizations and a new VBS Enclave SDK. First, what is Virtualized Base Security, or VBS? VBS Enclave is a software-based trusted execution environment inside the outer space of a host application. VBS Enclaves leverage underlying VBS technology to isolate the sensitive portion of an application in a secure partition of memory. VBS Enclaves enable isolation of sensitive workloads from both the host application and the rest of the system. At a high level, the new capability enables encryption and decryption of secrets bound to a hello authorization. Your secrets are protected so that a user needs to authorize for your enclave to access it. Elaborating more on that, the VBS Enclave SDK enables apps to bind access to sensitive data to a Windows Hello user gesture, and authorization happens inside VBS isolated enclaves. OS kernel cannot access protected data without user approval. This is especially important for scenarios like credential protection, think credential managers, secure authorization decisions, and high assurance identity workflows. The VBS Enclave SDK is a new kind of key credential that provides user binding of high-value data created in a tamper-resistant isolated environment, such as a VBS Enclave application. The VBS Enclave and the Windows Hello Trustlet perform mutual authentication to create a secure channel through which they communicate authorization for data access granted by a natural person. The API contracts allow enclaves to request secure sessions, receive enclave-attested challenge responses, derive shared secrets, and encrypt-to-decrypt user-bound key material. Let's integrate with the SDK. First, define enclave definition language for attestation and key operations. This is the contract that declares which functions host or normal world is allowed to call into the enclave, which functions the enclave is allowed to call out to host, and which data types cross the trust boundary. Next, implement handlers for user-bound key, get attestation report. This is the enclave side callback that produces an attestation report to prove enclave integrity, and a session key pointer used to bootstrap secure communication for the rest of the flow. User-bound key establish session for create. This is a host side callback used during a new user-bound key creation. And then user-bound key establish session for load. This is a host side callback used when loading an existing user-bound key. And then third, bind your app's key material to user authorization flow via the following APIs. Get user-bound key loading auth context is called as part of the flow when loading an existing user-bound key. Validate user-bound key auth context verifies that the key name matches the one in the auth context blob, and protect user-bound key performs key establishment using the enclave key handle provided. Let's look at a sample demonstrating user-bound encryption using Windows Hello that integrates with Windows Hello PIN authentication, creates encryption keys bound to the current user's identity, uses Windows Security credential APIs for user authentication, and demonstrates hardware-backed security features. Starting at the demo host app. This video is slowed down to about half speed so I can walk you through it. Let's create a user-bound key. Then you derive the key encryption key, or KEK, using Windows Hello authorization. The KEK encrypts the user key to create a user-bound key, and that is then saved to disk. Now the data is encrypted. You authorize with Windows Hello. And the encrypted string is now saved to disk. As shown over there, that's the location that it's saved to. Now if we go to actually pull up the string, looking at the encrypted string, you can see that it is encrypted. Now let's look at the decryption flow. We load the KEK using Windows Hello authorization. Again, this is the key encryption key. This KEK is used to decrypt the user-bound key, and we get the user key. This user key is then used to decrypt the user input. Let's recap. Protect users on Windows and their data by enabling passwordless experiences for users and protecting high-value data. First, build WebAuthn experiences with deterministic credential ordering using user agent hints. Second, offer passkeys through the plugin credential manager support on Windows. And third, protect high-value data by requiring per-action user approval executed inside a hardware-rooted enclave using the VBS Enclave SDK. Now, to learn more, tune into other Windows security talks to learn about additional capabilities to protect users. Specifically, tune into the session recording for App Control for Business from March 16th to learn more about what app control on Windows looks like. Security isn't a destination. It's a journey we're on together. It starts with a strong foundation, then reducing your attack surface, and finally securing access and detecting attacks quickly. Our commitment is to keep Windows evolving so you stay protected and productive as threats keep changing. Thank you.